Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Real Sports Updates here, back again with another video. Today, I want to kind of touch on the trade, the Carson Wentz trade. Carson Wentz to the Washington Commanders, I believe is what they're called now. Kind of just want to touch on that and kind of get a kind of get into it a little bit as far as Carson Wentz goes. I think he's probably the most complicated quarterback I think in the league right now. Um, he has he's had really high, like high highs, and his lows have been really bad. So I think his perception right now is not um, it's not the greatest with most of the teams in the league. He is supremely talented though. Like his physical gifts, the tools that he has. There aren't a lot of quarterbacks that have that. So he, continues to, get chances to prove himself. And I think the whole question with whether he will succeed in Washington and all of that stuff, like he has no choice but to succeed. Because if he doesn't, he'll be holding the clipboard. You know, the the following seasons that he's in Washington or wherever he is, he'll be holding the clipboard. He has to succeed. He really doesn't have very much wiggle room at this point now. And the story arc, of for him is very it's like a roller coaster, just completely up and down. There's some loops in there. Um, he's a guy, he has to prove himself this year. It is imperative for him to go out there and play good football. Now, Washington is not, as far as talent goes, they're not really in I would say, they're maybe top 15, top 20. They don't have, um, you know, a lot of talent on either side of the ball right now at this point. They have made some, uh, you know, questionable moves as far as drafting goes and stuff like that. So they are not, they're not deep at the talent position, but they do have enough. They do have enough talent to compete in the division that they're in. Obviously, the NFC East, aka NFC least. So they'll be fine as far as the division goes. Um, but they are only going to go as far as Carson Wentz takes them. Um, the this experiment is going to be very interesting because there is like a there really is a scenario where Carson Wentz can play, you know, mediocre to bad football, and the Washington Commanders still end up making the playoffs because of the division that they're in, and because of that division hasn't been great for a long time, and there've been teams with losing, in that division, you can have a losing record and still make the playoffs. So that doesn't really indicate success as far as the rest of the NFL goes. But I think it is more incumbent on Carson Wentz to play well. Now he did play well last season. It was a rough start. The first three games didn't look very good, but he started to get better. He started to grow, more confidence, and I think he got a little bit more comfortable in his position last year with the Colts. But there were some games where you did see bad wins. He, was making the type of plays that got him traded from Philadelphia. He's a guy, he holds on to the ball way too long, and he will completely just spit on a 5 or 6 yard gain and hold the ball and try to go deep and end up throwing an interception, end up getting sacked, or there's a lot of games too where I watched where he was holding the ball and his linemen were blocking downfield, and now you have a penalty. So it's incumbent on Carson Wentz to play well, and I think that is for him individually playing well. Like I said, they can get into the playoffs with a losing record. They don't have to be world beaters. They don't have to go out there and win every game or anything like that. They just need to play decent, solid football. Win some divisional games, and they'll be fine. But from Carson Wentz standpoint, man, he has to. He has no choice. He really doesn't. He doesn't have any choice. I don't see any other team taking a flyer on him as a starting quarterback if he doesn't play well. And that's the thing about Carson Wentz too, is that he is he's one game away from, I think at this point in his career now, he's one game away from being traded, or he's one game away from being benched at this point right now. I cannot, I just cannot get the week 18 Jacksonville game out of my head when it comes to Carson Wentz. The Colts were right there in the playoffs last season. All they had to do was beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they didn't do it. And Carson Wentz was awful in the game. He was terrible. He threw a couple late interceptions, and the game was there on the table. Jacksonville wasn't, they weren't blowing the doors off of the Colts. They weren't, they weren't scoring a lot of points. So the Colts offense just went out there and just pretty much just laid eggs, and it was very, very disappointing from the standpoint. If you're looking at that Colts team, they're built to win right now. They have everything. They have a good offensive line. They have weapons. Defensively, they're good up front. They have one of the best linebackers in the league in Leonard, and it just didn't materialize into a playoff win. But I think Carson Wentz, he took a lot of the blame for it, as he should have. He did not play well enough to win, and ultimately that's what got him traded. The Colts owner, Jim Irsay, is a guy who he's very impulsive, and he is very hands-on with the team. So watching that game, probably made him sick, and he probably decided that Sunday that, okay, we're gonna go and we're gonna try to get better at quarterback, and that's why Wentz finds himself now in Washington. But the time is taking on Carson Wentz, and he's running out of excuses, and he needs to just play better. It's amazing how he, that Super Bowl year that the Eagles had, Carson Wentz was, arguably the MVP of the league, until he got hurt in that game against the Rams. When he tore his ACL, he was playing really good football, and the Eagles were rolling. But it is incumbent on him to play well this season, and I can't stress that enough. He has to play well from an individual standpoint. He has to play well. If the team does not have success, it cannot be because of him. It's got to be from some other area. It can't be because of him. He cannot come out here and just be reckless with the ball. Continue to, ad lib, continue to try to play off schedule and do those type of things where it ends up hurting your team. So he cannot come out and do that this season. It'd be interesting if he does, though. It'd be very interesting if he does. Because he will find himself on the bench, and I think he has one more guaranteed year left on his contract, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So that'll be interesting as well too. To see where he goes, or if the Commanders don't hold on to him, full time. What are his options now? It's gonna be in a backup position somewhere. So, but it'd be interesting to see going forward. I think he'll have success. I don't know. I can't be too sure. Like I said, he's a game away from being benched. We've seen what happened in that Jacksonville game. And if he comes out and has a stinker against the Cowboys or the Giants or something like that, he'll probably be benched. Dan Snyder is a less competent Jim Irsay. He is very hands-on as well too, and he doesn't. He's not just gonna let the football people, you know, do their jobs. He's going to get involved, you know, especially if the quarterback is struggling. He's going to want to see somebody else out there. So it's going to be interesting going forward. But yeah, man, Carson Wentz just has to play well. That's all it is. That's all it boils down to. He has to play well. And if the team is struggling, it can't be because of him. So, but his runway is getting shorter in the league. His value is declining, and people's perception of him is also declining as well too. You know, he's not looked at as, you know, one of the top tier quarterbacks in the league now. You know, so he's a guy moving around three teams in 3 years. So it's not ideal, but you know, he has the power to you know, kind of change the perception of him, and he has the power to, you know, just be a better quarterback and a better teammate as well too. So, but that's all I got for this one, guys. Don't forget to give me a like, give me a thumbs up. I got more content coming out soon. Hit the comment section. Let me know if you think Carson Wentz will succeed, or if his days as a starting quarterback are over. So, but yeah, that's all I got, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.